I would love to deep dive into the conversation, sir, with you. Spotify has transformed how India listens to audio content, be it podcasts or music or audiobooks. Uh, what is the unique flavor of Indian market that you have noticed till now when it comes to audio consumption?
I think, look, every market likes to think they're unique. For us, there were a few things, right? One was we were very late entrants into India. We launched in 2019. We were the ninth, I think, or 10th music streaming app available in the country. And the general sense was, look, Spotify is too late. You should have come like 5 years before. It's a solved problem. We have really large companies already doing this. And then, of course, being a challenger brand and in a market like India where there are so many different nuances was an amazing experience to go through. I'll give you a couple of examples, right? So things that we had to do differently here. Anywhere in the world, if you log on to Spotify, we do something called language onboarding. Language onboarding is basically what kind of language are you interested in, or what language do you want to use the app in, right? Everywhere in the world is maximum 1 or 2 languages. So most of the places is English. If it's a European country, it will be French plus English or Spanish plus English. In India, we had to do like 18 language onboarding pretty much, right? Or 9 languages at the beginning and so on. The second thing, again, just an anecdotal example, is that globally, if you look at it, the idea of film music being like the primary consumption is not there. When you come to Spotify, the architecture is always artist, album, playlist, and so on, right? But in India, people look for Shah Rukh Khan's song. But Shah Rukh Khan is not a singer, right? He's not an artist. So how do you then solve for things like that when your entire architecture for content is built around what non-film music is? But in India, the tendency is very different, right? So I think things like that had to be figured out. But otherwise, look, I think it's what we like to think of as an island of positivity amongst everything else that people do. And because of our personalization and discovery, over that 6 years, we've got to this point where we have like over 100 million users in India, and things are going great.
As they say, Bollywood and cricket are the religions that Indians follow.
And Spotify.
Yeah. Okay, that also sounds good. Now I would, as you mentioned, 18 languages is what you ask in the options in the first stage of the app onboarding. Now India is a country where, of course, cultures, languages, food palettes, and everything changes within kilometers, right? How are you as a brand that, now music is also an emotion. Indians are driven by music. Our weddings, birthdays, functions are driven by content and music. How are you making sure that the ad monetization strategy that you follow is in line with the cultural and linguistic diversity that India has?
Yeah, I think there are two aspects to this, right? One is, as a platform, how do you address that diversity, right? And the second is, as a sales partner or somebody who is servicing a client or working on a brief, how do you address it, right? As a platform, honestly, we have a very different approach to the typical content-driven platform. So for example, we are the third largest OTT in the country at this point, right? But if you look at video OTTs, the focus primarily is on content sales, right? So you want to go and sell IPL or KBC or Shark Tank or whatever, right? We are not in the content sales business. We are in the audiences business, right? So our promise to the brands and the people we talk to is, look, tell us who you are interested in reaching out to. What is the plan? Like, what is the objective that you have with this audience? How do you want to go? It's not key, oh, there's a new track releasing, you can sponsor that track, or this playlist is cool, you should be on this playlist. I think that's not the approach we've taken. So the first is, it's always audience first, which helps to sharpen what the brand wants to do. And the second is, once they've identified the audience, then of course we have a data intelligence platform that tells us insights about content consumption, behavioral patterns. Do they listen in the car? Do they listen on a gaming console, right? And so we bring that information in to sort of make it personalized, localized, and intimate to the consumer in some way.
Now, Gen Z is the one that's driving the main consumption for Spotify app downloads. They are the ones who are deciding what content and what kind of audio content they want to consume. How are you altering your strategy when it comes to your sales strategy, when it comes to catering to this demographic, which of course is not a very attentive demographic, right? Everybody's talking about the attention deficit generation that we are. How are you making sure that we stick on the app and we are always clicking on the Spotify icon every time we want to listen to music?
Yeah, I think there's two or three questions in there, right?
Yeah.
First is Gen Z. So, of course, Gen Z is very strong on Spotify, but that's not the primary audience for us. When we were a 10, 20 million early platform and 20 million users or so, Gen Zs were a large chunk of our platform. Now that we are much bigger, the audience is starting to look more representative of what the overall population is, right? But from a consumption time point of view, from the role we play in the lives of our fans, we play a much more important role in the lives of Gen Zs. For them, we are a mental health resource, we are a companion. The feedback or the user research we do around what users feel when they use Spotify is, they feel positive, they feel motivated, they feel calm, they feel romantic. And so I see Spotify as a counterpoint to all the doom scrolling and FOMO and all of that. Like, you will never spend an hour on Spotify and throw the phone away कि मैं एक घंटे से क्या कर रहा हूँ, right? You will feel good about it, but on other platforms you may not do that, right? So I think one is, of course, Gen Zs are a very core part, but they are not the largest now. They are significant. The second thing, like in terms of how we approach it, or what is the sort of, how do we solve for those opportunities? I think the key thing you mentioned is attention, right? And I think this whole thing that people don't have attention is a big scam pulled by platforms that don't have attention, right? If you look at it, the ones that come and tell you there is no attention is people like Instagram, because there is genuinely no attention on Instagram, right? It's a second and you're just scrolling and you're doing whatever, right? But unfortunately, these platforms are really big. So when they come and tell you, "अरे consumer का attention नहीं है, 5 seconds से ज़्यादा नहीं है, they are just goldfish," you tend to believe it. That's not true. People spend 2 hours a day on our platform, right? We actually measured attention. We were the first platform to measure attention, and we know we were the first platform to measure attention because nobody else had done that research, and they didn't do it for a reason, because if they did it, they would not look so good, right? So, and the fact is that there are platforms that have attention. I'm not just talking about Spotify. There are platforms that have consumer attention. Some of those platforms now have reasonable scale. So it's actually a question for the media decision makers about whether they want to continue to just drink the Kool-Aid that they have been fed over the last 10, 15 years, or actually start looking at options for where people have attention, have deep engagement, have a positive reinforcement, and then use those platforms to really make their brands shine. Right? So
we had a lot of media decision makers in the room a while ago. I hope all of them are listening.
That's fine.
Now.
They hear it from me all the time anyway.
I love your honesty. What does a good sales year at Spotify India looks like? When would you say that, okay, amazing, keep it up, team?
I think, look, the fundamentals of sales, irrespective of what you're doing, is the same, right? You want revenue growth, you want retention, you want a healthier product mix, you want your deal sizes to grow bigger, you want to have strategic partnerships with your top 10, 20% of your clients. But I think those are the metric side of it. The other aspect that at Spotify, at least, that we focus a lot on is we also want to do it the right way, right? So it's not about somehow just getting the deal done. It's about being a true business partner to the client, understanding their problems, telling them not to spend money. I think Karthik mentioned the same thing earlier, that it's not necessary that somehow you have to go and make them spend. If it doesn't make sense for them to do what they have to do on our platform at that point, like, be an advisor and a trusted partner, and don't just kill yourself because the quarter is ending. On the value side of things. So I think balancing the values of how we want to show up as a sales team, and then making sure the metrics hit. And I think the base rule is you want to be between 95 to 110% of achievement at any given point in time.
110%?
Between 95 to 110. Anything less than, if you're regularly doing more than 110% of your target, then the targets are wrong. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's basically the way we look at it.
Because 110% of target looks very...
We've had a good run over the last 5-6 years.
We shall ask your teammates if they are happy with that 110% target.
Yeah, you should. Tell me what they say.
Okay. Do you see a lot of non-music content taking shape on Spotify? Is it a big revenue chunk for you?
Non-music content, yes. Obviously, pods are big. And now we've also launched video podcasts. So you'll find that most of the creators who are doing, it's funny, people say they're doing a podcast and they put it on YouTube, which is basically a video interview.
Yeah.
But I think we're seeing that pick up quite a lot. I think in several mature markets, we've launched audiobooks, right? And that's something that we're interested in bringing to India at some point. I don't know when. There is also a big focus on education slash self-improvement in some way, right? So I think, um, screens, TV and YouTube on the eyes. Our objective is to try and own the ears of consumers. In India specifically, pods consumption is very high, but we haven't seriously thought of monetizing it at scale yet. Most of our monetization still is, I mean, like I said, we are audience specific, right? So it's not the content that we're monetizing. But some of the custom stuff that you do with podcasts, like in the US, for example, sponsoring a Joe Rogan show or things like that, that we haven't brought to India yet. Hopefully next year.
Amazing. Looking forward to it. I was reading an article just this morning, and I think Spotify's paid subscribers globally went up 12% in Q2 of 2025 to 276 million, if I'm correct. But these are global numbers. I'm sure the Indian numbers are different. Are they in line with the global trends? Are they more? Are they less? How are you managing your freemium model with your premium model consumer base?
Great question. I think, look, globally, the split is about 60-40, right?
Okay.
So 60% of our users are on free, 40% premium. But 40% premium drive almost 80% of our revenue, right? So the value of a premium subscriber from a monetization point of view is multifold compared to a user who's on free, right? And we are very lucky to be a dual monetization company where we are not dependent just on one revenue stream. We have ads, we have premium, both sort of work in tandem. And the way we see the consumer stack, or not the consumer stack, but the consumer journey is that, free is a ladder to premium, right?
True.
And the primary driver of who buys premium or who stays on free is not income or ability to pay or any of that, right? Because Spotify in India costs less than a cup of coffee for a month, right? So it's not that whether they can afford it or not. The primary driver is consumption time, right? So you come to Spotify, if you listen, you're driving, you drive 45 minutes to office and 45 minutes back, and you listen to the radio, you get, about more than half the time you spend on radio is ads, right? If you switch it to Spotify, we do only 2 minutes of ads in an hour. So even being on free, your experience suddenly became 20 times better. So, but if that's your only consumption, you don't have any incentive to actually buy premium, right?
Yeah.
But if you are like me, or I don't know about you, how your music consumption is, but like our hardcore fans, people listen sometimes 7-8 hours a day, right?
True.
So when your consumption time goes up is when you graduate to premium,
Yeah.
right? So that's obviously, and to your point on premium, obviously the India numbers are very different. The premium base is not 40%, it is much smaller. But the growth rates here are much faster than what we're seeing globally. So that's something that we are very bullish on as well. And various kinds of price experimentation, payment integrations, all of that keeps happening for us to keep driving that business as well.
Are the payment plans in India any different from those globally?
Very different, right?
Yeah.
So
and why do you follow that, if you can?
it's what we did with the shampoo sachet, right? So globally, I think we've actually increased prices in some of our international markets. It used to be $9.99. I don't know. I think it's $12 or $13 or something, or equivalent in almost all markets. India is the cheapest market to buy Spotify Premium at 119 rupees a month, I think. But you have a 7 rupee daily plan,
Yeah.
right?
But there's also this family share plan, which is even.
So you have the family plan is everywhere,
Okay.
but like the daily plan, the student plan,
Yeah.
a weekend plan, these are things that we introduced just in India, right? Phone number login was introduced just for India. UPI obviously was introduced just for India. So we are giving consumers the choice of what is the best way that they want to try and experience the premium experience, and then sort of go from there.
Nice. When I talk about programmatic audio advertising, how does it sit well with your monetization strategy? Where does it sit well in the process?
It's a massive focus. I think Nishant is here, who leads our automation and programmatic strategy. Look, about even before last year, I would say from the beginning, we have always been very focused on being programmatic first, because we realize that the business that we are in, especially audio, it's a tough business, right? There's no existing market to just digitize. So we want the power to be in the hands of the media decision makers, whether they're agencies or clients. They should have the freedom to be able to access Spotify the way they want, in the way that's most convenient to them,
Right.
that gives them the most information, the insights, and so on. So we've had that focus from the beginning. But last year, it sort of became a company bet where we actually did a bunch of like very heavy tech investments into programmatic as well, right? So we launched our own ad exchange. We've announced very deep partnerships with Trade Desk, with DV, and a few more to come. And the programmatic part of our business is, I would say, the share of revenue for us programmatically is significantly higher than what we see on other OTTs, right? And growing much faster. And for me, the ideal end state is that, you know, it should pretty much be all programmatic as far as possible, because that's where the effectiveness, the efficiency, the transparency, the trust, all of that comes through. And that's what we want to do as well.
Amazing. Now, when you talk about reaching every city, every household, the core of India is still tier 2, tier 3 cities, who are even now, I think, dependent a lot on radios, boxes, and
Piracy.
yeah. How are you planning to kind of make them shift from the radio box to Spotify app?
Yeah, I don't know if it's radio we're competing with. I think we compete with YouTube, right?
Yeah,
because
that
that's,
as well.
and
That
then
as
the
well.
USB upload, right? You go
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
shop, pay $50, somebody gives you, 50 songs.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't think we have a very good answer to that question, honestly, right? We've been very focused on what are the audiences that are naturally affine to Spotify to start with.
Okay.
And those have been urban India 1, right? So if you go by the India 1, 2, 3 sort of segmentation from an income or other socio-economic and psychographic factors,
Yeah.
we are very much an India 1 platform, right? So out of 100 million users, 80 million are India 1 urban, right? And for India 2, I think the journey is not, I mean, the solve is not a marketing solve. I think that is solvable. It's more a product solve, right? Because Spotify is a complex, very involved product.
Yeah.
It takes time for the personalization to kick in.
Yeah.
You may not see the value of coming to Spotify on day one. So I think fundamentally it's got to be a product first approach to try and see how do we solve for those audiences. However, that said, not that I think language is any indication of sort of tiering of audiences. Like I speak 4 languages, but we are seeing like massive growth in Bhojpuri, for example, right? We're seeing South is, and some of the smaller towns are actually our biggest consumption towns. It's not, I won't say it's widespread and we are now a Bharat platform, we are not. We're still India 1. But I think that growth is going to be product driven before the marketing engines kick in to try and solve how do we want to tackle those audiences there.
Right. Now, speaking from the brand's perspective, where do you see audio advertising standing today in the digital ad spend blueprint of a marketer? Where do you see it going forward also?
Taking a theme from the title of the panel, standing alone, I would say. But I think there isn't any, right? I think the honest answer is, look, all of the large platforms, especially in mature markets, had the advantage of digitizing something, right?
Yeah.
So when YouTube came, there was a massive TV business, and you could just go and tell people, look, this is inefficient, etc. Move to digital. That happened. Social did a lot of that, also digitizing a lot of your news consumption and other stuff from social point of view. India, unfortunately, never had a large audio business traditionally, right? So if you look at radio, radio has been less than 1% of media spend declining over time. So it's not like we can come in and take a big chunk of money that's going somewhere offline and then go and say, look, ad efficiency, effectiveness, targeting, let's convert this.
Yeah.
So that is not there, which means and we are a new media practice, no CMO wakes up, or at least until 2 years ago they didn't, now hopefully they are a little more, but no CMO used to wake up thinking, arey, mera audio strategy kya hoga, right? They think
Correct.
about reels and YouTube and all that fun stuff. So I think audio is super nascent, which is why it makes it that much more exciting, right? So all of the large platforms, growth rates are tapering, they're struggling to sort of compete with each other. The targets for the sales teams are starting to become unattainable, whereas we see a completely blue sky opportunity to create this new media practice in this diverse and rich country that hasn't existed, and bringing marketers and agencies and clients along for the ride. So I think audio in India is going to be one of the most exciting journeys over the next 5 to 6 years in terms of where we'll go. I was the second employee for Facebook in India. I was probably in the first 10 for Google. I've seen how those journeys went.
Yeah.
And I feel like a similar tipping point is just around the corner for audio as well.
Awesome. We are almost done with the session. We would like to close the session with a fun rapid fire round.
Sure.
And you have to be fun and rapid, as the title says.
I am fun and rapid, I like to believe, yeah.
So my first question is, are you bracing up yourself?
I'm good, yeah, go for it.
Favorite artist of all time?
Whew, very difficult question. It's an impossible question to answer, but I'll say the Beatles.
Okay. If not sales, what would you be doing and why?
Teaching English or physics to students between 6th to 8th grade.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last played song on your Spotify.
I'll have to check. Last played song on my Spotify, I think, is Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
The most creative audio ad you secretly love.
Oh, I openly love it. I think creative audio ads are bread and butter. I have to love it in every way possible. I think we did something with Snickers, and I know we are over time, but this may take 10 seconds to explain. But the Snickers thing is all about how you're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah.
So we did stuff where we created ads that didn't match the mood at all, right? So if you're listening to heavy metal, suddenly you'll get a bhajan type song, and then you get a message here, looks like your playlist is also hungry, which is why it's behaving differently. So eat a Snickers, right? So I think that one was fun, but we've done so much great work. Yeah, so that one comes top of mind first.
Last one. Describe sales and revenue as a job in a song title.
Oh, Money by Pink Floyd.
Money.
Money, Pink Floyd, Money.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank
Great,
you so
thank you.
much.
Fun conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.